Welcome elected members, staff, guests and members of the public to the Ordinary Council meeting of the 23rd of April 2025. I now declare the meeting opened at 5:33. The City of Busselton acknowledges the Wardandi and Bibleman people as the traditional custodians of this region and pays respect to the elders past and present. This meeting is being audio recorded for minute-taking purposes and is also being live streamed on the City of Busselton YouTube website channel. The prayer this evening is read by Father Jess Navarra from St Joseph's Catholic Parish, Busselton. Being Catholic, quite timely with the sad news of the Pope. Thank you. If you just sit, or just switch that light on, press the button there. Thank you. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure to be with you. I've just been appointed as parish priest of Catholic parish in Busselton last mid-January. And it's great to be in this great city and to be with you on this Easter week, sharing you the blessing of Easter, at the same time asking you to join us in the whole Catholic Church for the period of mourning as the passing away of our Pope Francis. And the funeral has been announced will be on Saturday of this week. On this Easter week, the blessing for us is the promise of hope of our Lord Jesus Christ. The rising from the dead becomes the season of our hope. We as people walking together, journeying together in this earthly life, we can always look forward because of the words of Jesus and his promise of the rising from the dead. And I give you and share you the blessing of Easter, especially our counselors who is doing a great job in serving and leading our people in this great city of Busselton. May the good Lord, the risen Lord, lead you and guide you as you continue to serve our people in the best possible way. And may the blessing of our Lord Jesus Christ be upon you. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Jess. Appreciate it. You're welcome to stay if you wish, but...
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I have a private commitment at 6 o'clock, so I'll see you one.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye-bye. In attendance, I have Councillor Anne Ryan, Jodie Lee, Val Craig, Andrew McNeish, Kate Cox, and myself, Mayor Phil Cronin. We have apologies from Councillor Michaela Love and Councillor Richard B. Croft, and approved leave of absence from Councillor Jared Kennedy. We have some disclosures of interest on item 13.2 and 13.4. I've received disclosure of financial interest from Councillor Ryan, and on item 13.4 received a disclosure of impartiality interest from, again, Councillor Ryan. We now move to question times for the public. We have no responses taken. So, we'll move on to question. Sorry, I haven't. If you'd like to come forward. If you can just state your name, where you're from, and your question of council, please. With,
First? Hi, good evening. I'm Susan Teal. I live at 24 Alpha Road in West Busselton. Do you want all the questions or just one at a time?
One at a time, if you wish, yeah.
Okay. My first question was in regards to the bus station shelter, and I just wanted to clarify where it was located.
Okay.
And the progress on it. Sorry. And the budget, etc.
Sorry, where is it planned to be built?
Yes, if you'd like to let everyone know.
Sorry. Mr. Abrams?
Through you, Chair. On the council report, there is an attachment showing it might be easier just to show the layout on the screen than rather than me trying to explain exactly where it's located. Sorry about that. So if you're familiar with the area, on your left-hand side, you've got the Halley's Bar, and the bus shelters will just be located on that right-hand side there.
Yeah, okay, looks good. I understand your budget was for 40,000 and you're estimating it's going to cost 46,000, so where are you coming up with the other 6,000?
Basically, that's from savings that we've identified through other programs at the moment. Yep.
Oh, so you won't need to crowdfund?
No.
Okay, good. Now, there's one thing that is located there that you're going to have to get rid of.
The single scooters.
Oh, yes, well, it used to be bike shed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that can be relocated somewhere easy and convenient for people who are actually making use of that shed.
Yep. We will definitely look at alternative location for that as part of this program. Yep.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay, that's question one.
That was question one. There was 3 questions.
Well, it was all related to the one topic. And could I proceed with my second question?
You can have a second question.
Okay. Has the council undertaken a survey of homeless people around, and have you gathered statistics of who, where and why people are sleeping rough and are in cars and caravans, and what plan are we making to give access to accommodation and support services for these people?
No, we haven't undertaken a survey, but we work with the government agencies to support us in decision-making in that area.
Okay, great. And my third and final question. What happened to our affordable housing project in Harris Street next to the Churchill Park, which, as one of your objectives, Object 4, service delivery, worked with state government, and I understand that the Housing Choice Western Australia Limited withdrew their application, and I feel strongly that we need affordable accommodation in Busselton, and the 30 units would have been very useful and probably oversubscribed.
Through the chair, that hasn't been withdrawn to my knowledge. Is that correct, Mr. Barber?
Through the Mayor, it's an application with the state government, the State Development Assessment Unit. As far as we're aware, it's still active. They contacted us last week to ask some questions on it, so we're not aware it's been withdrawn.
Oh, okay, great. I see the notice that is not up on the site anymore.
Through the Mayor, the notices are only up for the duration of the advertising period. Once the advertising period closes, it goes into the assessment phase, and it's currently being assessed by the state.
Okay. I did visit the
you.
site yesterday.
It is up on the state government SDAU website still.
Oh, still there?
Yes.
Because, yeah. That's why I was concerned, because I saw it said it's been withdrawn.
Yeah.
So it hasn't
That-
currently been
thank you.
withdrawn.
Cheers.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Are there any other questions from the public? Being no questions, I will move on to presentations, parties with an interest. I first have Liz Asher from BirdLife Bunbury speaking on item 12.1. If you can just state your name, where you're from for the record. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. Liz Asher. I live in Ambergate and am a member of BirdLife Bunbury, BirdLife Australia, life member, blah, blah. Thank you. I need to use, okay. Oh. Okay, so now I was very excited to see the barrier or the witches' hats on the boundary of Busselton and Capel across Forest Beach a little while ago, a few months ago. Now, this has come up on tonight's agenda. Please do protect Forest Beach, Vass River mouth and the Deadwater, which are in perfect proximity to the Vass Wonnerup Ramsar wetland. Now, I'm going to cite some bird data samples that are relevant, supporting what I'm wanting to communicate. Now, this, you can see the map. This is data that I collected. I monitor birds and record them on bird data for BirdLife Australia. Now, this was from Wannerup Bridge Car Park, Lazure Reserve, Bass River Mouth and back around Wannerup Beach on the 30th of January 2025. I'll just flip through them. You'll see that there are a number of different species and the numbers of those species are there as well. This is just one day. I mean, there were days when there were more birds and days when there were less birds, but this day there were 19 fairy terns, including recently fledged young, on the northwest corner of the tidal zone of the mouth of the Bass River, which had recently been opened to the sea, and it was low tide. So they were feeding. Am I too loud? Or feeding in the tidal zone. Now, I'm trying to point out how valuable this area is. Now, fairy terns, their conservation status, they're a threatened species specifically listed as vulnerable under the Commonwealth Environmental Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act 1999, the EPBC Act, and under state legislation in all parts of its range except New South Wales. Now, these fairy terns have an estimated fewer than 3,000 breeding pairs in WA. Their breeding season is spring and summer. The threats that we can influence are human disturbance and introduced species, specifically dogs off leash on the beach that love to go in and chase the birds. And I understand people wanting to use the beach, and that's healthy too for people, but we have to have some areas for the birds and the natural environment. Now, the location of fairy terns can be found along coastal beaches and near coastal wetlands in southwest Australia. The dominance of 4x4 vehicles and off-leash dogs have been displacing beach nesting birds. For example, in spring 2023, I watched pied oyster catchers that looked like they were probably setting up a nest high on the sandbank near the Bass River mouth on the Capel side, and there were no vehicle tracks that were obvious in that area that weekend. Red-capped plovers were also very active in the area, so the next week I returned with my birding scope to check them out, but the whole area was a mass of 4x4 tracks. The weather had been conducive to people to get out there, and there were no pied oyster catchers or red-capped plovers visible in the area. Oops, a daisy. Hang on. Here we are. Now, in November 2024, WA was included in the National Beach Nesting Birds Survey officially for the first time. We had surveys, but this was the first time officially as part of the Australian surveys. And what I'm going to talk about was Forest Beach, from the private property with the old deed title that goes to the waterline, Mark Forests, to and including the Bass, all the way down the Forest Beach to the Bass River mouth. The river was opened, I think the river was open to the sea. Yes, it was. Significant were a spread of small bird footprints all over the beach, particularly tracking along the four-wheel drive wheel tracks. I guess it was easy for them and they didn't have to go up over the edges of them. And all the red-capped plovers sighted were adults or juveniles that had nested earlier in the season because the chicks were old enough to be running around. Sightings can indicate more unseen, thankfully, before the 4x4s filled the beach. Also on the beach were silver gulls, Pacific gulls, Australian pipit, 3 horses, 8 four-wheel drives, 5 people fishing, 2 people walking and 1 off-leash dog. I mean, my job for this, the role is collecting data, and this is only about beach nesting birds, this survey. Now, there were...
It's a 5-minute time. I should have probably mentioned that.
Yeah. There was 1 Australian oyster catcher, 38 red-capped plovers and 21 juveniles, and 3 hooded plovers. Now, these hooded plovers are the most northerly recorded on WA beaches. I really hope that they survived the four-wheel drive traffic through the 24-25 summer season, because this was in November. Less than 50 hooded plovers have been recorded between Dunsborough and Augusta. They are rare. Now, the conservation status for them is they are listed as vulnerable under the EPBC Act.
Do you wish to summarise before we run out of time? Sorry.
Okay. They lay their beach nesting birds lay their eggs directly on the beach. Busselton Beach, Bass River Mouth and the Deadwater are very invaluable habitat. This really matters for future generations, for the many elements of our natural environment, particularly for the birds. So many people are removed from the natural environment, challenged and stressed. We are the ones who must take the lead to hold on to it for all. Okay. One more side.
Thank you.
Now, just very quickly, that's what the nests look like on the beach. They're very hard to see and very vulnerable. And on the right is a Bartail godwit that has just flown down from...
I am going to have to wind you up. Sorry.
Yes, thank you, and I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Appreciate that. Next, I have Guy Carroll Vaughan. Hello, Guy. If you can just say your name and where you're from. Thank you. And you've got 5 minutes.
Is that right?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Mr Mayor. Elected members. The agenda item represents a good step forward in the management of the beach and dune systems at Forest Beach. The Wonnerup Coastal Reserves Management Plan it refers to was developed around 10 years ago. It's mostly fit for purpose. It was designed, as the name suggests, to manage the dune systems, not the beach itself, although many of the actions recommended clearly can be used to manage both effectively. The intervening years have seen significant changes in the dune systems, which means some of the initiatives now require a little tweaking to have the outcomes best aligned with the city's and community's intent. I would ask that the councillors agree to support the initiatives listed, but with the minor amendment that the CEO has the flexibility to adapt to current conditions on the ground rather than those identified 10 years ago. For example, various access point actions are defined as beachside, when clearly roadside would be far more effective to defend both the dunes and the beach from illegal ORV use. More illegal access points have developed since 2016, so would also need to be attended to, despite not being explicitly listed in the agenda item. Some of the actions referred to are either doubling up or now unnecessary, and costs can be repurposed as necessary. For example, actions 1.9, 2.4, 2.5, 2.9, 2.11. The action addressing the northern access from Capel ORV Beach on page 41 is separately assessed as a $50,000 item for physical signage, which may be a typographical error and should probably be described as physical barrier for that price, as per the timeline on page 43. The southern seasonal access from Wonnerup ORV Beach, which is possible and inevitable across the closed river mouth during winter months, was never identified in 2016, maybe because the assessment was made during the summer months. Consequently, it does not figure in the agenda item at all, but would require a similar consideration to the northern one, as it provides direct access from an approved ORV beach. No mention was made in the plan that illegal tracks were going through a combination of private land and adjacent Crown reserves. There may be some concern in the planning department about working on or near private land, but the principal owner has expressed great interest in a private-public partnership to achieve these outcomes. Who should I forward his details to?
Yeah, so the CEO.
To the CEO, okay. Thank you. And that's my statement, but I have one question at this time. It seems opportune to ask it, and I don't know who I ask it of, so if someone would put their hands up with an answer, it'd be great. The Wonnerup River mouth sands over every winter, Can the city's administration advise the community who has the responsibility for cutting out the sand and opening the river mouth each spring? Who makes the decision? When is it considered? Who performs the engineering?
Look, it isn't public question time. You would have had that opportunity earlier, unfortunately. But
I didn't know, that's
yeah,
fine.
but we can get that answer back to you.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
If someone
thank
can
you.
come back.
No, I
that'd be good.
appreciate that. Cheers.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Sorry, my name's Bianca. I'm from 20 Caprock Crescent in Vass, and I'm McRae, sorry, and president of the Vass Soccer Club.
Thank you.
I'd just like to thank you for the opportunity to speak on item 17.1. I'm the president of Vass Soccer Club. Vass Soccer Club is a junior-only club of approximately 140 members for the upcoming season. All the roles in the club are volunteer. And there are several points I'd like to make issue with the donga licence. Firstly, the city acquired this donga free of charge from builders who previously were doing construction nearby and now charge us to use it. Currently, the licence is interpreted by the city is that Vass Soccer Club and Vass Cricket Club is 100% responsible for damage all year, with the cost shared 50% by each club, even though cricket and soccer only have a licence for a 6-month period. Hence why we wanted clause 4 to be added. The previous licence agreement in 2024 never stated anything about the clubs being responsible for sharing the damage for 100% of the costs, which is why I questioned the city about the current licence. We absolutely support Councillor Ryan's motion, and we need the clause removed, which suggests that we are responsible for the damage outside of the donga also. Considerable time has been spent by us and the city on this licence because the licence did not previously reflect what had actually been occurring. We brought to their attention that nowhere in the licence did it suggest that we were subject to sharing the damage with cricket. We did discuss with the city not having to share the damage with the cricket, but were essentially told we had to make the decision between paying 50% of the damage for the whole year or 100% of the damage for 6 months. For us, this donga is 200 metres away from our playing pitch, meaning volunteer mums and dads are dragging goals and equipment across the pitch each week. The donga is only used for storage. We can't run a canteen. It's too far away from our games. There are no canteen facilities inside the donga, making it impossible for us to raise money to pay for this damage. The officer's comments suggest it would be inequitable for other sporting clubs if we were granted this as what this notion suggests. However, is this donga not inequitable anyway? As other sporting clubs have fit-for-purpose facilities, we don't have that luxury. I'd now like to discuss the damage to the handrail that the city fixed without our knowledge and then suggested the costs would be added to our 2026 fees. We were only informed about the damage when the costs were added to our upcoming fees. I questioned the city staff as to why this was done when clause 5.19 of our 2024 licence states, the licensee shall, for as long as they are in premises or remain in possession or occupation of the premises, properly maintain, repair, and keep the premises at all times in good repair. When I questioned the issue of the damage done once again repaired without our knowledge and then billing us, the staff said it was their error and that in the future they will contact us. As a small club who received a $400 bill given to us is completely unfair. We could have perhaps organised the repair at a cheaper cost or possibly by a parent in the club, remembering it was not in the signed licence agreement for the city to fix it. As a volunteer club, we have spent an inordinate amount of time discussing the issue with city staff, but the question begs to ask, how much time have the city staff also spent on this issue previously with an incorrect licence agreement for a number of years? I have asked multiple times for the waiver for this fee, which, to be honest, I'm unsure why I have to ask when the city itself admitted it was an error. In respect to asking for the waiver, in one case, I was told that if we didn't get the waiver, I could have just applied for the city's community grant. So essentially, I would be applying for grant money from the city to go back to the city. I have also been told that I cannot ask for a waiver until 2026, until the damage cost has been applied to our fees, which I find ridiculous. I would also like to raise the issue of our ability to mitigate damage. The location of the donga is at the end of the AFL oval. Soccer or cricket only use the damage as a storage facility. The AFL have purchased a $15,000 trailer to ferry their equipment. Unfortunately, one trailer would not house what we need. Before every AFL training session, you will see several boys hanging around our donga, and the location of the donga sees AFL balls being hit into the donga. We in fact had a meeting with one of the city officers who witnessed the boys on the roof of the donga. Damage can be done at any time by any person, as was done with the toilets recently installed at Vass Nature Park on several occasions and has only been in place for a few months. Yet users of the park are not asked to pay for the damage when it occurs. In meetings with the city, they have stated they don't feel the damage to the donga has been much. Again, I go back to the idea we're a small club paying for these damage costs. They obviously could not guarantee we would not be damaged 10 times in the following year at $400 each, with totalling $4,000. This type of damage would cripple my club. Unlike other clubs, for example, Busselton Netball, which has an alarm and security lighting, Busselton Soccer Club has a large fence, and even Dunsborough Soccer Club has CCTV cameras. The city has provided no security for our donga. We also exist as a thoroughfare from the school, and when asked by the city staff how do we mitigate our damage, they could not give me an answer. So just to end it, I'll just say, I will just urge that you support our stance, and just to be crystal clear, we as a soccer club are happy to pay for the inside of the damage, but the external upkeep is a bridge too far for our small club. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We have no other bookings. Parties with an interest. Move on to item 8.1, that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 9th of April 2025, councillors, please, are confirmed to be a true and correct record. Do I have a mover? Moved, Councillor Craig. Seconder, Councillor Cox. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? Motion is carried 6-0. Thank you. I have received an application for leave of absence from Councillor Kate Cox for the meeting to be held on the 14th of May 2025. Do I have a mover for the motion? Moved Councillor McNeish, seconded Councillor Craig. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? Carried 6-0. We now move on to items brought forward and the adoption by exception resolution. The officer recommendation is that the committee recommendation for items 11.1, 11.2 and the officer recommendations for items 12.1, 13.3 and 16.1 be adopted en bloc. Do I have a mover for that recommendation? Councillor McNeish, seconded Councillor Ryan. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? Motion is carried 6-0. Item 11.3 is the budget amendment for the emergency water tank sensors. Reply. Absolute majority required. Do I have a mover? Moved Councillor McNeish, seconded Councillor Cox. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried 6-0. Item 11.4 is the rate concessions for the Busselton Aero Club Inc. Do I have a mover? Moved Councillor Cox, seconded Councillor Lee. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? Motion's carried 6-0. 11.5 is the draft schedule of fees and charges for 25-26, and we'll have a foreshadowed motion alternate from Councillor Craig. Do I have a mover for the motion? 11.5, the draft schedule of fees and charges 2025. Sorry, we've got the committee recommendation. I apologise. Do I have a mover? Moved, Councillor Craig.
I will be moving with a foreshadowed alternate.
Sure. We need to let this play into the vote. So seconded Councillor Cox. Is there any opposition? There will be opposition, so I'll oppose. And therefore, do you wish to move your motion?
I agree with everything that's in the office.
Sorry, with the microphone. Thanks.
I agree with everything that's in the officer's recommendation, but I wish to foreshadow a couple of alternatives. One on line 1629. I think that you should be able to get it up on screen because I don't want to read it all out. Line 1629, apart from the officer's recommendation, I want to add an increase by 27.5%.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to get you to put the motion first, sorry. And
I
then,
wish to add some items to the officer's recommendation
yes,
as
sure,
a foreshadowed
sure.
alternative.
All right, do I have a seconder?
Thank you.
Thank you. Seconded, Councillor Cox. Okay, is there any opposition? There is opposition.
Sorry, through the chair, I think the confusion is there is no officer recommendation, there's only the committee recommendation at the moment. So if you're moving a foreshadowed alternative to the committee, so you'll need to put the committee first. If the committee loses,
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
then Councillor Kay will get to move her foreshadowed alternative.
So maybe we can just get through that motion.
Yeah, so just, I think you need to deal with the committee recommendation first.
Yeah. So validate for the committee recommendation. Is there opposition?
Opposition to the committee
The
recommendation?
committee
Yes.
recommendation.
Opposition to the
Yes,
committee recommendation.
there is opposition. Therefore, do you wish to speak to this motion? I would suggest not.
I think Councillor Kay has already done that.
Yes. Sure. So you move, well, yeah, okay. Different way. Councillor Cox, do you wish to speak?
No, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll reserve my right.
Sure. Opposition? Is there any opposition? There is. Do you wish to speak?
Only to say that I believe there's a better alternative to be debated and hopefully this loses.
Sure. Thank you. Any speakers for? Speakers against? Therefore, Councillor Cox, you have your right of reply. Sorry, you've reserved your right. Move on. Do you wish to rebut? Do you have a rebuttal? No. Thank you. Therefore, I put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? The officer's recommendation is lost 6-0. Therefore, committee recommendation. Can I have this in front of me? Sorry. Gonna have to get my reading glasses on. Okay, I now, Councillor Craig, you have your foreshadowed and alternate.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Well, I agree with the officer's recommendation.
Sorry, Councillor.
No? Can I speak now? No? No?
We just,
I
you
would like to
just
put forward
your
an
motion.
alternative.
Thank you. Do I have a
Foreshadowed.
seconder? I have a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Cox. Is there any opposition? So,
It's in front of you. This has been moved and seconded.
What am I doing?
So councillors, just to clarify, just while we're sorting this out, so this is now Councillor Caig's alternate in front of you now, which has been moved and seconded, which is the motion that's in play.
So, I have a mover, I have a seconder. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? Motion's carried 6-0, absolute majority. Item 13 point. 13.1 is RFT 25005 Dunsborough Non-Potable Network Extension. Do I have a mover? Moved Councillor McNeish. Do I have a seconder? Seconded Councillor Lee. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? Motion's carried 6-0. Item 13.2, RFT 25006 Estate Landscape Maintenance. Councillor Ryan, you have a financial disclosure you wish to.
I do, Mr Mayor. I declare a financial interest in item 13.2 as I own a home and reside in Birchfields Estate. Given this interest, I will leave the meeting while this item is being considered.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Do I have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Moved Councillor McNeish, seconded Councillor Lee. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? 5-0. Thank you. If we could please ask Councillor Ryan to... Councillor Ryan, the officer recommendation was passed 5-0. May I move on to item 13.4, the proposed permanent road closures, portions of Yebble Drive and Linwood Street in Vass. And I have a impartiality disclosure from Councillor Ryan.
I declare an impartiality interest in item 13.4 as my daughter has entered into a contract to purchase land in this area. As a consequence, there may be a perception that my impartiality on the matter may be affected. I declare that I will consider the item solely on its merits and vote and act accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a mover for this officer's recommendation? Move Councillor Craig, seconded Councillor McNeish. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion or the officer recommendation. All those in favour? Motion carried 6-0. Now move on to a pulled item for alternate, which is item 14.1. The Business Development Events and Marketing Program for the Triple J One Night Stand funding request. This was pulled by the officers on page 65. The alternate recommendation is in front of you. Do I have a mover for this alternate recommendation? Councillor Lee, seconded. Councillor Craig. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, I put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried 6-0. Item 17.1. Notice the motion, the Vass Soccer and Cricket Club licence agreement. Councillor Anne Ryan, do you wish to put your motion?
The motion as put.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Seconded Councillor Lee. Is there any opposition? Being no opposition, put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried 6-0. The next ordinary council meeting will be Wednesday the 14th of May 2025. I now declare the meeting closed at 6:11. Thank you.